Okay, so let's get right into it. So, if you've been joining my live so far, like if you've joined, I've had about 3 or 4 live sessions up until now. 2 weeks ago, we started off with building an AI email assistant that basically responds to your emails on your behalf. So we started off with this exact workflow 2 weeks ago. We took a break last week because I had some technical issues, but today the goal of this live session is to really improve upon what we have right now. So if this is your first time joining in, I'm just going to give a quick overview of what this AI workflow you see on the screen here is supposed to do. Hi AY, thanks for joining. Like I was saying earlier on, if you are joining me on TikTok, that's great. But if you want to get like a good horizontal view, you can go on YouTube and also join me on there because you get that view you want, and it's a lot more easier to view on the phone than on TikTok. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, my channel is This AI Tool Does That. So if you go into YouTube, you can just search for This AI Tool Does That and you get access to my channel. Okay, so I'm just gonna give like a brief overview of what this AI workflow you see here does, just so that people who couldn't join last week would be able to follow along as well. Okay, so I've already done several sessions talking about what n8n is and everything. So the assumption is that you already know what n8n is. So this workflow you see here starts with like an email trigger. Okay, so this is basically an AI email assistant, right? So it starts with an email trigger, and what this email trigger is doing is that it's basically listening to any emails that hits your inbox, right? This time around, I'm just focusing on Gmail as like our main inbox provider here. So this node is basically listening to like emails coming through, right? So if it finds out that, okay, an email has hit your account, then what it does is that it triggers the entire workflow, right? So what happens next after an email is received is that it goes through this AI agent we have here, this AI agent node we have here. And what I have in here is basically saying that you are a helpful email assistant. Your primary role is to assist me in responding to emails that come into my inbox, and your goal is to ensure timely, professional, and accurate communication on my behalf. And in here, I've talked about like how it should draft responses. I've given it guardrails, and that's the thing about when you're building AI automation, right? Because you're not always going to be there to ensure that it responds the way you expect it to. So you need to make sure that you have clear guardrails, right? So I've said things like write clear, concise, and professional drafts, replies based on the context of the incoming emails, match the tone and style appropriate for the sender, address all questions and requests, maintain a friendly, professional tone at all times, right? So I've said all these things. So and then what happens next is that it would basically send the response, right? So I'm just going to test this as the base so that we can build on top of it. So I'm just going to click on execute workflow. Yeah, I was expecting it to fail because I don't have I need to re-authenticate this. Okay, so let me go back into n8n, and this is something you should always notice that when it comes to like your OAuth credentials, there are things that you may have to always sort of like ensure that they are connected, right? So I'm just going to reconnect again, and then we see if it's the next time I run this, it should work. Okay, so connect. I'm going to give it access, continue. So now if I come back into my workflow here, I expect it to work, right? So this is the email that is in my inbox right now, right? It's talking about my AWS account has exceeded 85% of usage limit. And let's see the response that was drafted. So it sort of has drafted a response for me. I'll review the usage details accordingly to ensure compliance. And I've said appreciate the timing alert. Note that I didn't have to write this thing myself. The AI agent node wrote everything based on the instructions in the system message, and then it sends the response. So if I should go into my email right now, right? If I should go into my email right now and I click on this is the email that came through, right? It's telling me that I've exceeded my usage. This is the email that came through, and this is the response that was created. Obviously, this is an alerts email, so it's failing. But really, that's the agent did everything on my behalf, and I didn't have to like manually go in and write a single line. I knew you have to like manually go in and edit the message, reply, and everything. So this is a really good way. I mean, a lot of and there are so many other use cases when it comes to like an email assistant, right? Another use case could be that you could just have an email assistant that is responsible for unsubscribing to like services you subscribe to, right? So you can configure this differently. The use case I was going for in this workflow is basically to just respond to emails, right? So now that I've talked a bit about like how this workflow works, just for the purposes of those who couldn't join us 2 weeks ago and those who have not been following, I want to add a few more things we can do to improve this exact workflow. And as usual, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comment section below as well, and I'll gladly answer them for you. If you are just joining in on TikTok, you can also join me live on YouTube, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. But I think that the YouTube view is a lot more easier to follow, just because like with TikTok, the phone might be a bit restrictive. So you can join me on YouTube as well if you want to get that horizontal view, and it's a lot more easier and better that way as well. As usual, if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comment section or in the chat box, and I'll try my best to answer them for you as well. So today I want to focus on improving this exact workflow. Okay, so as you can see here, we only have this email assistant that is just responding to emails, right? But then in real life, even if you have an assistant, right, sometimes you'd want to go over the work they do. Sometimes you just want to make sure that they are doing the things you expect them to do. So ideally, I wouldn't even recommend that you just like let an AI agent draft a response and send it over. I would recommend that you are a human in the loop. I recommend that you have a 4-eye check on the response that the AI sends drafts, and then you can decide whether you want the AI assistant to send it or not, right? So in the real world, that is what I recommend, and that is the improvement we are going to make today on this AI email assistant workflow we see here, right? So what I'm going to add in here is a human in the loop, right? And in order to do so, I'm just going to click in between the email drafter node we see here and then the response to email receive node we see here, right? And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm just trying to say that once you draft the email, right? Once you draft the email, kindly send it to me first. And if I approve it, then you can go ahead and respond to that email, right? So kindly send it to me first. You can decide on what mode you want, right? You can decide that the AI assistant should send the drafted email to you in Telegram, in WhatsApp, or maybe they should just store it in a folder somewhere so that you just go and review it. For this scope, I just want to keep it, I just want the email assistant to send the draft to me, like via my email, and then I can approve it or reject it, right? So I'm going to type the Gmail node here. And in here, instead of like send a message or reply to a message, I'm going to be choosing send a message and wait for a response, right? So this is what I'm going to choose. I'm going to say send a message and wait for a response. Now, you can define where you want the email to go to. Okay, you can really define where you want the email to go to. So let me just explain what's happening here right now. So this is basically the the action node that would basically send the draft written by the AI agent to me, right? So you give it an email like where it should be sending it to. So let's example, I wanted to send it to this exact email here, and then the subject can be what you choose. I'm just gonna say something along the lines of approval required. And then in terms of the message, this is where it gets interesting, right? So in terms of the message, I want to say that let's say this is a drafted email response from the AI agent, right? So let me come in here and type this. So this is a drafted response from the AI assistant, right? I'm just dragging the response here, right? This is the drafted response from the AI assistant, and I'm saying that the email, right, is coming from, and these are parameters that you can define yourself, right? The email is coming from, so you need to look for who the email is coming from. In order to find who the email is coming from, you go to email received, right, which is the first trigger, the first node in your workflow. And then you select it's coming from this person, right? And it depends on like how you want to sort of wire this, because maybe you're really not interested in knowing who this email is coming from. But if this is, let's say, your manager or your boss, you'd like to know, right? Because you like to know how you should respond, right? And maybe I'm going to add something around the lines of what the original email said. Okay, so original email, again, from the first trigger, I'm just going to basically use this one, which is the original email. Okay, so the original email is this, right? So this is the original email that came, this is the response I drafted, and this is who it came from, right? Now let's scroll down and add in a bit more, another configuration. So because this is me trying to provide approval or rejection, in terms of response type, I'm going to choose approval. But then in terms of approval options, I'm going to say approve and disapprove, so that I can have the ability to disapprove if I don't like the message, right? And if I like the message, I can also have I can just approve it. And you can define which one you want to see first, whether you want to see approve first or decline first, okay? And then once you have this part sorted out, the next thing you can do as well is you can add in additional options like the wait time. You can append, like you can say this was sent by n8n and all that. But if you're not interested in any of that, you can just let it slide. So this is really how the setup will look like. And so if I should click on execute right now, I should see this message come into my inbox. Okay, so if I come back into my inbox and I refresh, you can see that a message has been sent to my inbox in here, and it's basically saying that this is the drafted email response, and this is the subject, and this is the drafted email response, this is who it came from, and this is the original email, right? And then at this point, you can decide to decline, you can decide to approve, you can decide whatever you want, right? If you decline it, it means you don't like the response that was drafted. But if you decline it, like what should happen? If you approve it, what should happen? Okay, so let's assume I approve this right now. Right now, I don't have anything in my workflow that says that if this draft was approved, do this, right? I just have this connected to my email, and that's not what we want. So one thing we are going to do is we are going to add a decision node, right? You're going to add a decision node. Hi Prasant, thanks for joining. If you have any questions, like I said, as usual, you can drop them in the comment section and I'm going to answer them as well. If you are joining me on TikTok as well, you can sort of join me on YouTube as well, because on YouTube you get a vertical the horizontal view is a lot more cleaner. It's easy to follow that as well. If you want to join me on YouTube, you can just go to this AI tool does that on YouTube, and then you can join me as well. Okay, so let's come back to our workflow in here, right? Let's come back into our workflow in here. So now that we have this data received. What do we do with the data, right? If you approve your workflow, if you're like, okay, I like this response, what should happen? This is where you need to add a decision node, right? So a decision node in this case is an if else. There are a number of decision nodes you can use inside n8n. One is an if else, one is a switch. But in this case, I'm just going to use an if else, right? So you click on the plus button and you search for if. And then in here, what you're interested in is, just think of if else as like, if this is true, do this. If this is false, do that, right? So if we approve, right? If we approve the draft, right? If approval is true, then we expect it to do something, right? So you can see that this if else node has two outputs, right? True and false, right? So if you approve the message, what should happen? If you disapprove the message, what should happen, right? So if I approve the message, I want to then go ahead and send the response. If I disapprove the message, maybe I just want to keep the draft in my Google Doc folder somewhere. So I'm going to add a Google Doc file in here. So I'm just going to say create a document first, and the document would probably be, I'll give it a title. You can select the folder in which you want to put this in. So maybe I'll just like put it in here, right? And then I'll just give a title. The title would probably be maybe the snippet in here. This is just test, right? You want to give it a more like clearer title, right? And then this is just going to create the file in my drive. Okay, so if I go into my drive right now and I search for flyer, go into my drive and I search for like the flyer images, and I come in here, you can see that if this action succeeds, so if I click on execute step right now, let's see if this action succeeded. Right now it won't succeed because I didn't disapprove, right? So there's no, it's just going to go through the true branch, right? So let me just run this again. Up until this point, let me run this again, and then I'll show you, like, I'll disapprove the response, the email that comes through. So I'm just going to disapprove this time around. So once I disapprove it and I come in here, you should see that approved is false, right? So if approved is false, if I should run this right now, it goes into the false branch, right? Okay, so if approved is false, if I run this right now, it would create the file in my folder here, right? So if I should refresh this right now, you see that a file has been created in my folder. So this is the file that has been created, right? But the file has been created, but like there's no data in it, right? So in order to add the data, we need to update the exact file, right? So again, we are going to add a Google Docs node. And this time around, we are saying update a document, and the document we want to update is this one here, right? So, and then what are you updating the document with? You're updating the document with a draft, right? Because you're updating it with a draft so that you can probably come back to it later on to make changes. So if I should execute the step here, if I come in here and I should refresh, you can see that it already has the data in here for me, right? So this is really how you can add additional steps to your email assistant, right? We started first with a very simple email assistant here, but now we've added things like human in the loop and if else node and all that, right? This makes it a lot more reliable. This makes it a lot more friendly, right? So that you are rest assured that because you have some checks in the node because you have some checks in place, you are rest assured that even if an email is being sent on your behalf, it's something you've already approved. It's something that is basically coming from you. And if you don't like it, you have the ability to update it. And in here, once you update it, you can also add in additional steps to say that once you update it, now the email can be sent. So you can add in another node that would basically link to this one, and it can send the email once you've updated it. But yeah, this is like a very simple use case. I'm probably going to drop the workflow in my school community. So if you're not in my school community, I can sort of you can join my school community and then you get access to the workflow. Okay, so there's a question coming in on YouTube. So let's see. I'm building an HR voice agent using retail AI with Trilio, but my boss thinks the cost is a bit high. Do you have suggestions for more affordable alternatives? I'm from India. Also, the Trilio only verified numbers allow me to call, not to be able to call new Indian numbers. Okay, so basically I'll get a response from Ukraine having another flow that was shortlisted. All right, so you're asking a lot of questions in just one message. So to answer your question about building an HR voice agent using Retail AI and Twilio, I understand your concerns about cost. You can use open source alternatives. This means that you'd have to self-host it yourself. So I believe there's one open source alternative called Dogra, if I'm getting it right. Yeah. So this is an open source alternative you can use. Because you are self-hosting this, you just have to self-host this one on your server. And I'll probably do a tutorial of using some open source voice assistant, alternative voice assistant. I'll do a tutorial on that on my YouTube channel, so stay tuned. There's Dogra, there's VoiceBox. There are a number of open source assistant alternatives when it comes to AI voice assistants, right? So this is also another open source alternative. With this one, you can sort of even host it on your own computer, right? Whether you're using a Mac or you're using a Windows, you can also self-host it. So you can try it out. If you want the exact steps on how to use these tools, I'll do a tutorial on that on my YouTube channel. But one thing I want to also talk about is my new app, which is Addition.ai. So this app basically is an app I vibe coded from scratch, meaning I built this application without having to write a single line of code. And what this app does is that it helps you build what matters to you. Basically, so to your question, let's say you want to build an AI voice assistant, you want to build a website, you want to build a video project, AI avatar, just think about it. Anything you want to build, all you have to do is sign up, and it's going to give you steps. Okay. For the month of March, if you signed up for the month of March, or if you're signing up from today, I'm going to upgrade you to the paid version so that you can use the AI functionality in here to build whatever you want to build. The good thing about this is, and how this differs from other AI building tools, is that this is sort of focused on learning while you build, right? So if you're using, let's say, Claude Code, or you're using Replit, or you're using Lavabo, and you're using all those tools are supposed to help you, they're supposed to help you build. You describe what you want and they help you build. But if you want to sort of understand why you're building the stuff you're building, or you want to understand what every step means, then this tool will basically help you, because it will give you the exact step you want. And the good thing is, when you sign up for the free version, you get access to about 3 projects that you can sort of build. But then if you want to sort of create, if you have a project in mind and it's not in any of these things here, what you can do is you can just once you sort of sign up, and once I see that you've signed up, I'll upgrade you to the pro version. And what this means is that you can sort of click on generate my project, and then you can sort of describe the exact project you want to build, right? So for instance, a question came in about building something using Retail AI alternative, right? So maybe you want to build an HR voice assistant, right? Using let's say VoiceBox, right? Because VoiceBox is the alternative I talked about. So if you want to use Dogra, which is open source, right? You can say an HR voice assistant using VoiceBox, right? And so and let's say in n8n, right? So you can just describe what you want to build, You click on next. It's going to ask you a few clarifying questions. If you don't know what to say, you can just say not sure, and then the AI is going to recommend it for you. And you can say not sure. You click on next, and then you can sort of like generate your project that way. It does take maybe 30 to 60 seconds to sort of like generate the project, but then I'll show you exactly how this will look like for you, like if you eventually create your project. If you have any questions, like I said, you can sort of drop them in the comment section below. If you're on YouTube, yeah, you can drop in your questions. Yeah, I'm glad this helped you. And if you decide to use Dogra, or you decide to use VoiceBox, you can use Adesina AI to give you the exact step you need to be able to implement this. So you see how this will work. It will give you the exact step. It would explain to you what every step means, and then if you get stuck, you can use an AI assistant as well to build that. So let's see. Yeah, I'm waiting for more questions. Okay, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comment section. If you are just joining in from TikTok, you can join me on YouTube as well. So my channel is This AI Tool Does That. You can go on YouTube, search for This AI Tool Does That. I do a lot of tutorials, and if you follow through the tutorials and you're still stuck, you can basically if you go to the tutorials and you're stuck, you can basically go to adesina.ai, describe what you want to build, and then it'll give you all the steps. As you can see, it's created the project here. It's like HR voice assistant with n8n. Because we didn't specify whether we have a cloud account or because we didn't specify that we have a cloud account or like a self-hosted account, it's assuming you're using the cloud account. And as you can see, it's sort of explaining what n8n is. It's explaining every step, what you should see, right? So if you want to build and learn at the same time, this is your go-to tool. And I do have a free version. So like I said, if you sign up for the free version, you can practice with three projects. And if you are signing up today till the end of March, I'm going to bump you up so that you get the builder version, and that will be good for like another month before I downgrade you. And then at that point, you can decide to upgrade as well. And the good thing about the app is that like it gives you some pro tips, it gives you like common errors you should expect, and then gives you the fix as well. It gives you some helpful resources here in the form of videos, articles, and once you're done, you can upload to GitHub or you can share on social media. So this is really good, especially if, let's say, you're applying for a job, right? And you're applying for a job, you want your employers to see what you can do. You can basically upload the files to GitHub, and once you click on share on social media, it's basically going to draft a message for you. And depending on which social media platform you want to share on, whether you want to share on X, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, it will draft the message for you. It will put in your GitHub link so that when you share it, this serves as social proof. Your employers know that you can basically build stuff, right? And this is the AI coach here, right? So if you have any problems, like this is the AI coach, you're building something you really don't understand, like maybe just an example, what is n8n, right? You don't really understand. You can really use the AI coach and it's going to help you. You can take a screenshot, like something fails, you have an error, you don't understand, you can just take a screenshot, upload it here, and it will explain whatever is happening. It will give you the exact steps you need to follow. So it's saying that, of course, let's break it down. What is n8n? It's just explaining everything for you, just like that, right? And this keeps history. So if you come back, you would understand. You would understand what has been happening. So yeah, so this project here, Prasant, hopefully this helps. You're asking some follow-up questions, which is really great. Try Adesina AI, adesina.ai. Hopefully it will give you all the steps you need to basically solve the problem you're having, right? The thing about the Trilio account, I know that some countries have restrictions about like creating mobile numbers just because of scams, right? So that is something that you also need to be aware of. Okay, so Harry, you have a question about joining my school community. Yes, so my school community is if you go on school, right? If you go on school, this is my school community. If you go on school, skool.com, you can basically search for this AI tool does that. So I have a free community and I have a paid community. So the free community basically gives you access to most of my tutorials, like all the tutorials I have, my templates, you get access to all of that as well. I do run build sprints and everything. If you want something a lot more structured, then you can also join my paid community. So yeah, to join my school community, you can just go to school and then you search this AI tool does that, and you can join my school community as well. Okay, so coming back to Adesina AI, like I mentioned, you can also have all the steps. So just try it out. And if you sort of join my community, if you are able to sign up for Adesina AI, then you would also have access to, you can join the community as well on Discord to provide some feedback as well, right? To be able to join the community on Discord to provide some feedback as well. Now, the other thing I want to talk about as well is my events. I have some upcoming events this in March. So if you are in the Ottawa area, then I'm hosting a free community workshop with n8n. So if you're in the Ottawa area, then you can easily join me on 23rd of March at 6:30. You can sort of sign up on Luma for free. There's going to be a lot of food, a lot of drinks. You meet other builders as well, and we are going to build our first email. I know we did an email workflow here, but we're going to go into details because it's going to be 2-hour session, and we're going to go into details like building your first workflow, the things you need to know and everything. And I'm also hosting a vibe coding accelerator. So if you're a business owner, you're a professional, you want to build your first application or your first software or website, whatever it is, I'm hosting a 6 weeks vibe coding accelerator as well that you can join. And then I'm also hosting an n8n lab. This is going to be over 3 days, 6 hours. So again, the purpose of the lab is that you bring whatever you want to build, and then we build it together within 6 weeks. Within 6 hours. It's going to be over 3 days, so 2 hours every day. The vibe coding accelerator is 6 weeks. So in the course of 6 weeks, you should be able to build your application, whatever you want to build, right? And of course, if you don't want to join any of these, you can also sign up for Adesina AI. Like I mentioned, if you sign up today till the end of March, I'm going to bump you up so that you can use the AI coach and all that. And once you do that, once you sign up, you can also join my Discord community as well to provide feedback or any sort of things. But yeah, let me see if there are any questions that have come through on TikTok and on YouTube. So Harry, I hope I answered your question about the school community. So you can basically join the school community as well. Yes. It doesn't look like there are additional questions. But yeah, so the goal of today was basically to improve upon the email workflow we built last 2 weeks. And I believe that is complete now. I'm going to drop this in my school community, the template I used today. I'm going to drop it. I'll just download it after this call and I'll drop it in the school community so that you can sort of watch, you can play back our live session 2 weeks ago to see how this was built, the beginning part of it. So this was the first live session. So you can watch that and you'd have the template. So it'll make building a lot more easier. Next week, we'll probably continue on with n8n or we'll do something different. I'm still thinking about what would be helpful. You can send me a message or an email. Let me know what you would like me to build next week so that we walk through that together as well. It doesn't have to be n8n. It can be another platform. Could be Cloud Code. If you want me to do something around Cloud Code, just let me know. You can send me a message. So many avenues to reach me on. You can reach me on YouTube. You can reach me on LinkedIn. You can reach me on TikTok. You can join my school community. So yeah, just let me know if there's something you want me to build next week during our live session. Just let me know and I'll do so as well. But yeah, like thank you for joining in today. I hope you found this session helpful, and I hope to see you in the next one. Okay, yeah. Build a Jira voice call agent. Okay, sure. I'll take note of that as well.